63-year history has ever done before by leading the staff to victory in the prestigious Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Brewer will deliver the toast to the Lassies.
Yay! Got to keep this still fit.
Mr. Captain, members and guests, I feel deeply honoured to be making this toast tonight. It is not often that you get the opportunity in a fairly male-dominated club to talk favourably about women. Tonight, I don't just want to talk about women, I want to venerate them. I want to speak up for women, women in this room, women that have stood in the background for too long, while perhaps even men in this room have grabbed the limelight and accepted all the plaudits. You could say that Ravi Burns was enlightened, and certainly his opening words to the rights of women, which he wrote in 1792, could not be more relevant than they are today. While Europe's eye is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empires and the fall of kings, while quacks of state must each produce a plan, and even children list the rights of man. Amid this mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. Ladies, tonight I am on your side. Tonight it is my task to caress and cajole a few simple words into a meaningful tribute to these unsung heroes of yesteryear, and also these delightful ladies we see before us that we collectively call the Lassies. Now, ladies, please do not think that those words are patronising. They are not, nor were they meant to be. This dinner harks back to a long forgotten era when men really did take credit for everything and ladies really did play second fiddle. At the original Tarbolton dinners, at the Tarbolton Club, the diners were men and the ladies cooked the dinner in the kitchen. Today, the diners are mixed. The chefs were all male, and what a fine meal I think we all had tonight. And it was prepared. It was prepared by Simon, Yazid, Jamie, and Ben. Not a woman in sight in the kitchen. Knowing the ladies' section so well, knowing their idiosyncrasies, their good humour, their desire to see the best in everyone, even you, their husbands. It is with a sense of pride that I am here for you today to champion the cause of the ladies. I fervently believe that in spite of logic, in spite of legislation, in spite of the lessons of history, they are still all too often treated as second-class citizens. This is preposterous, as I shall attempt to demonstrate. For a start, women are healthier and they generally live longer. They are the ones chosen to bear children, and that, to my mind, is pretty special and thankfully not something that can easily be altered. Furthermore, in most situations, they are more sophisticated, more civilised, and much more subtle. We only need to look at Mike and Shirley Ingham to have this confirmed. When it comes to the constitution of the mind, however, the female of the species really is made of sterner stuff. Would Albert Einstein be as famous and revered as he is had it not been for his first wife, Mileva Maric? Mileva was a Serbian mathematician who attended Zurich Polytechnic with him. They became lovers, collaborators, before marrying, having children, and then eventually divorcing. There has been much debate about her contribution to his works, but they did agree, in advance of him winning the Nobel Prize for physics, that he would receive the prize and credit, and she would receive the money. Now, talking of physics, another woman who has made a remarkable contribution to the history of mankind is Marie Curie, whose work in both physics and chemistry has contributed greatly to our understanding and treatment of cancer. Marie was Polish, a friend of the Einsteins, and carried out pioneering research into radioactivity, winning the first Nobel Prize to be awarded to a woman for physics in 1903, and later becoming the only woman to be awarded a second Nobel Prize, this time for chemistry, in 1911. Marie often turned down money and awards and was admired for her modesty and honesty, traits that we admire here at Royal Wimbledon. On a light-hearted note, it is often commented that we men bottle up our tensions until they erode into ulcers or clog the vessels of the heart. Women, on the other hand, disseminate tensions into looks that would freeze water, or use caustic wit to make their point. In truth, gentlemen, it took 2 million years to make man out of the monkey. When it suits Anne Morgan, she can reverse the process in seconds with It appears that the toast to the Lassies goes back in time to the early 1800s and was developed through the gentlemen in attendance at Burns suppers to show some appreciation to the ladies who toiled away in the kitchen preparing the supper that they had just eaten. But it was also to thank all the ladies who had contributed so generously to the forming of Burns's character and for being such an inspiration for his work. A mighty and worthwhile toast, I think you will agree. So I will continue my toil to find the fitting and suitable tribute. So in the spirit of generosity, I have carried out further research, closer to home this time, to see what else I could thank women for. I have spoken to a number of members and asked what they would like to thank their wives for. Alistair Niven, our vice-captain. Well, Sarah, he just looked at me blankly. Graham Dacomb, our captain. He said he would get back to me once he had had time to think. Captain, I'm still waiting. Needless to say, it goes without saying that all the past captains wanted to thank their wives for their patience and understanding for their year in high office. All those meetings, late night phone calls, endless hours in the bar discussing important matters such as short socks, relaxed dress in the dining room, untucked shirts on the golf course. My personal favourite, the breastfeeding scandal in the bar of a few years ago. And more recently, the new rules of golf. If these conversations hadn't taken place, ladies, the world may well have stopped. Now, this is a great club, populated by some of the greatest brains in the land, who have attended some of the finest schools and universities in the country. Our captains have been captains of industry, men whose influence has stretched right around the globe. Sadly, none of them are here tonight. One past captain who did get back to me was last year's captain, Andy Bird, who was effusive in his praise for Claire. Now, Claire really did need to exercise patience, as I can only imagine he was rarely home, as it felt like he had moved into my office. Now, Andy, as many of you will know, is a detail man. So much so that many years ago, when he won the McDonald's contract, he immersed himself in the subject and attained a degree in hamburgerology. His education at Princess Henry's in Evesham clearly didn't go to waste. No stone was left unturned last year. I did, on occasion, encourage Claire to take him away for a few days or weeks. In fact, I even offered to pay for the holiday. But she was always very happy for him to be here. In fact, she said it definitely was a key to a successful year of marriage. Very true argument. I have carried out a search for contributions that women have made to mankind. Contributions that have made life more worthwhile, where society has benefited from these valuable contributions. Did you know, for instance, that between 1637 and 1914, over 500 women were registered as having invented something useful? Most notable of these useful inventions was the dishwasher by Josephine Cochrane in 1886, and also the disposable nappy by Marion Donovan. Now, the unkind, or perhaps the unchivalrous, or even the Stephen Turnbulls amongst us would perhaps counter that these two inventions have only freed up women's time so they can muscle into traditionally male territory. Saturday morning golf. Burns could not have attained the status he has so long enjoyed were it not for the fact that he was surrounded by remarkable women. The women of whom Burns wrote were not frail, timid ladies of English nobility, nor were they weaker vessels or victims. They were proud descendants of Celtic womanhood. When the ancient Romans encountered the Celtic tribes inhabiting northern Europe, they were impressed by the equal station enjoyed by their women. Celtic women enjoyed an unusual degree of freedom by standards known in the ancient and medieval worlds. They were renowned for their individuality and courage, and were particularly praised for the qualities of self-respect and independence. Celtic women could inherit land and title no less than their male siblings. A woman could serve as chief of the clan and enter into battle, just as men did in time of war. The ferocity of the Celtic warrior women is a subject of legend. Those of us that have played golf with our next speaker, Sue Grant, will be able to testify. The Romans were shocked by the sexual liberty enjoyed by Celtic women, who extended what the Celts euphemistically referred to as the friendship of the thighs. Due perhaps to the carefree attitude of the Celts, succession within their tribes and clans was matrilineal, because amid such general promiscuity, the one thing you could guarantee was who your mother was. Now listen to this bit, gentlemen. A Celtic woman could divorce her husband if he failed to support her or treat her with respect. If he was impotent, homosexual, sterile, or gossiped about their sex life. She could leave him if he was fat, a snorer, or just plain repulsive. It's just as well I found my wife in England. It was to the inheritor of the spirit of Celtic womanhood and to the literary celebration of their many virtues that Burns devoted so much of his energy. The farmer's daughter, Nellie Kilpatrick, inspired his famous work, Handsome Nell, that starts, "Oh, once I loved a bonny lass, and I love her still. And whilst that virtue warms my breast, I love my handsome Nell." Burns' only bride, Gina Moore, who bore him 2 sets of twins before their wedding, was the inspiration for the song "A Wife's a Winsome Wee Thing." Anna Park celebrated as Anna with the Gowden locks, a tractable maiden who served at a local tavern, were just some of the ladies that influenced our Rabbi. The irresistible beauty and sensuality of the woman who inhabited the world of Burns is evidenced by the fact that he fathered no fewer than 12 children through liaisons with 4 or possibly 5 women whose names are known to us. Clearly Burns enjoyed the friendship of the thighs and found in that his greatest inspiration. Burns could not have attained the status he has so long enjoyed were it not for the fact that he was surrounded by remarkable women. And so we toast the daughters of the Celts and all the members of the fairer sex who are the inheritors of the spirit of the Celts, as celebrated in the verse of Robert Burns, in all their beauty, dignity, strength, and yes, their ferocity. Gentlemen, what I say to you is this. Forget about the pin-up girls and busty blondes that inhabit the pages of the World Wide Web. They have been photoshopped and are the stuff of fiction. They are the figments of your imagination. The real women of everyday life have all the qualities you seek, if only you have the sense to see them. Cherish them. Give them the respect they deserve. Even, Stephen, if they want to play golf on a Saturday morning. As Robbie Burns said, a woman can make an average man great and a great man average. Gentlemen, be up on your feet and join me in a toast to the Lassies. The Lassies!
The Lassies! The Lassies! The Lassies! Lassie, Lassie, Lassie! Lassie!